My name is Kimberly Phillips. I'm the mother of Aaron James Phillips, who was involved in an officer-involved shooting on August 10th, 2015. I'm sending this message directly out to the San Jose Police Department, Chief of Police, Detectives Wayne Smith and Rick Yu, the Coroner's Office, Officer Vega, and the two responding officers, Officer Moran and Officer Bergstrom. My son's death was ruled a suicide because the call was for suicide. My son was acting not in his normal character. However, after receiving the press release on the 11th, I was adamant that the officers were lying, and every time I tried to explain that to the detectives, I was shut down. I need questions answered. We need them for closure for our family. I've been working tirelessly to get some resolution. And the newest thing that came up is the blood splatter on the outside of my house. On the long side of my door, inside my house, blood stains in my concrete. Now, I need to know how they got there. The officers said they didn't shoot my son. The coroner's office, Officer Vega, told me on the phone that very day that he had no other injuries but the self-inflicted gunshot wound to his head. 4 months later, when I received the autopsy report, I noticed that he had extensive injuries to his right leg that they're claiming to be postmortem dog bites. I don't know that canine is going to come in when someone has rigor mortis and attack their leg to have those extensive wounds. That's very suspicious. Also, the coroner's office stated that they had my son's projectile, and they describe it in detail. Copper jacketing or whatnot. And I was told that they never found that. She actually told me that it was lodged into my wall. But they had the casing, but not the projectile. The projectile was later found by myself and the workers who were patching up my house in my closet. So I have that. So I don't understand how they have it and I have it, and I need that question answered as well. I also want to know who opened my door at 12:16. At 12:16 a.m., it was far after the shooting, and my son here, Andrew Phillips, and I were engaged in a conversation while I was in the back of a police car. I had Sprint at the time. Andrew, you had
AT&T,
and I have a log entry that someone opened my door at 12:16. I need to know how that happened, and I also need to know how come his shotgun shell doesn't appear in my camera pictures until 12:18, and on that very picture, it appears to be a finger going up towards my camera. And the funny thing about that is they don't mention in the 100-page police report the fact that I even have a camera. Not CSU, not the police officers, no one. They don't mention it until I give it up to Detective Wayne Smith. I tried contacting you, Detective Wayne Smith, and gave you those pictures, and you were adamant that that was not a finger and that was my son's head. I'm sorry, but my son can't come back from the dead to show his finger or his head in there, or come out and splatter blood spots on the outside of my house. We need answers, and we need answers now. I'm tired of trying to find resolution for me and my family when you guys know the truth. Something needs to happen, and Eddie Garcia, you're big on accountability. To the Trump rallies, you made your own statement that you're going after everyone and you're going to get a task force and do everything you got to do to bring accountability to all the people who were causing havoc or whatnot. What are you going to do for me and my family for us to get resolution for all these suspicious circumstances surrounding my son's death if it's a suicide? There should be no suspicious circumstances at all. That shotgun was placed out there at 12:18. Oh, and there's a 4-hour window of missing data from my camera. I need that explained to me as well. Someone needs to make sense of this to us, please. for us to have closure. And my son Andrew would like to share a little bit about himself and the reason why this is so important to all of us, for our family.
So again, my name is Andrew Phillips. I'm AJ's little brother, and this honestly goes far beyond just our family. I look at it as a community. What are we going to do in terms of bettering our community for another tragic situation like this not to happen? I got diagnosed bipolar in 2012, and my mom has had to call the police a few times, and luckily I had some really great officers to respond to a CTI call, CIT call, excuse me. And those situations ended up great. No one was harmed, no one was killed. So what I'm calling on you guys for is to make sure that you guys follow protocol on a suicide call with weapons. If you have no protocol, then I believe there needs to be one established, again, to prevent any future tragedies like this in the future. Not only for my family's sake, for closure, but for the community as well. We cannot let this happen again. All we ask is, if there were honest mistakes made that night, then take ownership. I want to see the accountability that you were talking about, because it's just not fair. I even at first went against my mom. I didn't think, hey, it is what it is. It was just a suicide. It wasn't until recently, until I actually read the report for myself, and I am even left with questions. So it's not making sense at all whatsoever. So for those who are watching this video, I just ask that you approach this in a non-biased opinion and look at all of the facts and all of the evidence that we've covered on our own, and then you judge the situation. We can't let this keep happening. Again, we just need closure.
I'd also like to say that my daughter was on the phone with 911 during the whole entire time. So the time of the call is going to be very important, because it's going to tell the time of the shooting. The 911 call actually came out at 12:08. At 12:11, my son appears out here. And then there's no pictures until 12:16, and then the last two at 12:18, and nothing else until 4:30 and 4:31 in the morning, and then his shotgun appears. They make no reference to the camera. They didn't move it for tactical reasons, but the angle was changed. That all needs to be explained to us. And now the new evidentiary findings that I found is blood splatter. Latent blood, tiny. It's like it's hidden, but I found it. And I need that to be explained. We need closure. I need closure. It's very difficult to move on when there's so many unanswered questions. Detective Wayne Smith, you told me it is what it is. Your son committed suicide, and that is your son's head. And I'm telling you, you should have done your job and remained objective and looked at everything that I've been trying to say to you, because it all doesn't make sense. And I need someone to please help us. That's pretty much all I need to say. My son is no longer here, and God forbid that our tragedy one day be yours. And that's it. That's all I want to say. I don't even know if I covered all the stuff, but it's okay. There's so much more, but the most importantly, the blood. That blood shouldn't be out there. And I did direct it towards the people that were here, directly towards them. You know what I'm saying? And I'm giving the facts. That's the facts of the stuff that doesn't make sense.